I went away for a few days for my brother's bachelor party. I come back. It's almost like, I mean, I didn't really like think there was standards at CNN or these places, but they're now just Fox News. And honestly, I think worse. Like, I'm not saying CNN, MSNBC are like as racist, but they're just casually putting up numbers that are just clearly wrong. This is not one time. This is 5 times, 10 times. I can't tell you how many polls they put up that are just wrong. So either they're grossly incompetent, all impacting one candidate, Bernie Sanders, or they're just telling their people, just make up the numbers. I want to show you one video from today.
In terms of who will run against Trump in 2020, who the Democrats will nominate, national poll here, NBC Wall Street Journal, Biden, Warren, Sanders. Interestingly, again, a couple weeks ago, there was talk that Warren might be surpassing Biden. His lead has stabilized there nationally. She is second place here, second place in most polls you see now nationally. Sanders, I think, is notable at 19%, given all of the sort of speculation, his health scare last month. He is very much in this nationally. He's very much in this in those early states, Iowa and New Hampshire. The race does look different in those early states. In terms of electability against Trump, we did test Biden and Warren. Nationally, Biden leading Trump by 9, Warren leading Trump by 8. Remember, of course, this is a national popular vote poll. The popular vote, we track it, we tell you who won it, but that's not how the president is picked. The president's picked in the Electoral College, which sets up, I think, the most interesting poll finding of the day from our friends New York Times, Siena College. They went to 6 key battleground states, 6 states that Trump won. He won them all in 2016. Democrats have to win 3 of them. I think I went too long. Let me get to the punchline here, Allie. Biden leads Trump in 4 of those states. Sanders leads Trump in 3 of those states. And Warren in 1 of those states.
And even in 2 more.
Right.
Very interesting. Thank you, Steve.
Yeah, so, NBC, Wall Street Journal. Yeah, we did a head-to-head just for Elizabeth Warren and Elizabeth Warren and Joe Biden because, we just forgot to do Bernie. We just forgot. I mean, how much more brazen could these people be? The man, in recent weeks, first in a New Hampshire poll, second in an Iowa poll, tied for first in a Nevada poll, tied for first or in close second in California. And we ran out of room. We ran out of phone lines to call and see what Bernie was against Trump. But we only chose Biden and Warren. This is not bias. This is erasure. This is erasing a candidate, trying to erase momentum, and frankly, disrespecting millions and millions and millions of his voters. This isn't a news organization. This is a propaganda outlet. This is no different than Sinclair Broadcasting that does propaganda for Trump and the Republican Party and forces its anchors to just spew out nonsense. They didn't just forget to include. Just like they're not talking today that Bernie Sanders had over 10,000 people last night in Minneapolis with Congresswoman Ilhan Omar. I haven't seen it at all. It's like erased. Then you have CNN with this nonsense.
Well, let's take a closer look at that new Iowa poll, along with one from New Hampshire. They show a tight race at the top among voters in the first 2 states to vote for the Democratic nominee. Elizabeth Warren leads the pack in both, with Bernie Sanders not far behind. Next, Pete Buttigieg, and in 4th, Joe Biden, who once dominated all the polls.
Yeah, the only problem with that, the only problem here, Bernie Sanders was at 21% in New Hampshire and Elizabeth Warren was at 18%. Must just be just an accident that continues to happen over and over and over and over again on CNN and on MSNBC. I'm sorry, folks. I'm not, a polling truther. I'm not one of these people. I'm not saying fake news and calling for violence like Trump. But this should be FEC regulated. They should be being fined, and there should be jobs on the line, including CNN's president. You don't just get to repeatedly put out false data, false information, and call yourself a news organization or keep your job. It's directly misinforming people to prop up a certain political ideology and prop down one. Frankly, I worked at Fox News for a dark time in my life. I've never seen these fake polling data numbers go up, even on Fox News. I might be wrong, but I've never seen them just fudge data and numbers. Because sometimes you're just too brazen. We're like, oh, we can't get away with that. Apparently CNN and MSNBC, they just don't care. They just don't care anymore. And to me, this is the equivalent, of Martin Luther King and black people trying to, the CIA and others trying to minimize them and erase them as, they're with Russia is backing them. They're communists. I mean, it's the diminishment and the erasure and trying to propagandize movements is not a new thing in this country. But this is kind of beyond the pale. And here's another one.
Opportunity to ask them how they were feeling, given that yesterday a poll was released showing Senator Warren on top, followed by Buttigieg, Sanders, and Biden. Here are the responses.
At the very top, Elizabeth Warren, Bernie Sanders, Joe Biden, and Pete Buttigieg, they're all within 6 points of each other, and this all comes on the heels of last night's sudden...
Only Bernie Sanders was above Pete Buttigieg. Are all these mistakes? Is it one person at CNN who just can't do math? So personally, to me, folks, and I've called for this before, and I'm not going to stop calling for it now, and it might be a little controversial, I think there need to be bodies outside CNN headquarters. I want to be clear, not calling for any violence, only peace. But this is it. This is the rigging of the election. They are trying to put into the viewers who might consider Sanders if they see he's surging, if they see, well, maybe the tide's turning a little bit, maybe he's not such a radical. They're trying to basically brainwash people into thinking of a small town nobody mayor who's done absolutely nothing in American politics is somehow polling better than Bernie Sanders and has a movement. Lastly, I give you this embarrassing piece of journalism.
Change that America can believe in.
At this point in that presidential campaign, this 46-year-old senator from Illinois was still an underdog, well behind Hillary Clinton, but slowly starting to catch fire. This year, the youngest candidate in the race is also on the move.
Are you ready to leave behind the reality show in Washington and change the channel to something we can all be proud of?
It's too soon to know if Pete Buttigieg will follow the rise of Barack Obama, but he's turning some of the same heads in Iowa, like Terry and John Hale.
So does he remind you of Senator Obama?
Absolutely. It's the intelligence, it's that cool composure, it's the ability to be presidential.
He is catching on. The more people that see him, the more people that support him.
It was 12 years ago when Obama's long-shot candidacy turned a corner here, dazzling thousands of Democrats at the state party's fall gala.
Yeah, he's so Obama, he has like 2% of the black vote. So much like President Obama, who won 93% of the black vote in re-election in 2012. I don't know what he won in 2008. So 93% of the black vote, 2% of the black vote. I can see the comparison. Here's George Stephanopoulos. his doozy with Mayor Chosen One yesterday.
Polls is questioning Warren's math.
Do you buy that she can pay for her plan without raising taxes on the middle class? That's what she says.
Well, the math is certainly controversial. Again, there are variations in the estimates in the trillions and trillions and trillions of dollars. And we don't have to go there in order to deliver health care to everybody.
Warren's progressive rival, Bernie Sanders.
Another thing that Mayor Pete said that I thought was in that, but I didn't have it. He says, can't we have the humility to not be my way or the highway on Medicare for all? Can't we have the humility as a country? You know, let's have humility like Pfizer. Let's have humility like the EpiPen company price gouging sick people. Let's have that humility. And by the way, you know what my way or the highway is, Pete? When a for-profit company says to your kid who needs a brain surgery, this happened with Aetna, a young 15-year-old girl needed brain surgery, when Aetna says, we'll cover it, but you need to get the more expensive one. That's my way or the highway. We'll cover your surgery, but we won't do the cheaper one that's research shows is just as effective and less invasive. We can only do the more risky one that's more expensive. That's my way or the highway. When a company tells you, yeah, we'll give you you could get EpiPens, pay us $750 a pen. It's just remarkable. And honestly, I believe the media needs to be regulated in this country because this is the propaganda ministry. I don't want to hear about RT America and being state TV. This is worse than state TV, what I'm showing you. This is corporate TV. This is corporate propaganda. As CNN now, to my side, has Kamala Harris on for the 200th time. Can you imagine if media brought on Bernie Sanders this much? They bring on people polling at 0 to 3%. It's unbelievable. Unbelievable.
Hope you enjoyed that last video. Hop on over to statuscoup.com where you can sign up for our email list and become a member for as low as $5 to $10 a month. Membership is how we grow. That's statuscoup.com/join. And remember, join our email list so we can grow the revolution with you.